Well, welcome to the World Carp Classic and welcome to the shores of Lake Bolsena here in Italy. It's been another exciting day in the event, and there's been fish that have been consistently caught throughout the lake. But we've got a great show for you this evening. We've got some guests that are coming on to have a chat with you about different things that have been going on and different products that they've got. We've got some views and comments from the competitors that are actually out on the banks at the moment. And we've got a whole host of other things that we're going to be discussing. I've got Nick with me this evening, and Daryl as two of the guests, and we're going to be chatting through and bring you up to speed with what's been going on from Lake Bolsena.
Hi Ross, thank you. What a day it's been today, Daryl. I mean,
another manic day.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally, excuse the smell, I'm glad it's not smell-o-vision, I've literally just flown around from Marta, the other side, where I was doing a quick interview with Lee Jackson and Rob Tuff. And I was very fortunate to get a live take, well, two live takes actually, one during the actual interview.
Right.
And it showed everything about the power of these fish. It literally just melted. And it just totally out there, basically didn't need an engine. It just took him straight out there to 250, 300, 350 metres. It just kept him going. So they've got two in the sack. The marshals are running around because that section's kicking off. Darren and I saw...
We turned up at peg 42, I think, over towards Marta at the same time from the opposite ends, and literally a fish there as we got there, so that was great.
Yeah, and I just photographed the fish. I think about 16 kilos in the swim
18.
past that.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay.
And then obviously the one that we caught up with you guys.
Yeah.
We had a local, decided he wanted to be in every photo that we took as well. The whole way that we just turned up and just got in each photo, which is quite funny. So yeah, it's kicking off now, isn't it? It's taken a few days for some people to get it really going.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, when you look at the girls' position representing Dynamite, it's someone's going to have to go a hell of a long way to catch up with those girls now.
Yeah, I mean, just before we came on show, they'd caught, was it 32 or 33 fish?
35. 35 fish now, yeah, and probably counting as we're recording this.
Yeah.
You wish, yeah, you hope. I mean, the angling that those girls have put in to achieve that over the course of the week. Doesn't matter how big they are, because they've had a few of the smaller fish.
Yeah.
But it means nothing when you're literally having to fish that hard for 5 days now, nearly 4.
And I think that really is the thing. It's consistently fishing hard and keeping the fish in their area. And I think that takes a lot of angling skill to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on a lake like Medina and it's sort of won by maybe 3 or 4 fish sometimes, you can win it in a day, can't you?
Yep.
But this can't be won in a day on Bolsena, because you do need to catch 20 plus fish to have a chance.
We said at the beginning of the week it's a marathon, not a sprint. And
definitely.
Although they started off very well, you know, it was a long way to go, and they've maintained their position right out in front. And, you know, I will say that's down to the quality bait they were using.
I just said it's got a lot to do with the quality of their angling.
And the quality of their angling also.
I mean, it says a lot about Bolsena, a lot about the quality of female fishing in general, really, that those girls can come here and do what they've done for a whole week, basically.
But also, in fairness, the stamina that they've actually got to just keep going and going and going, because it really is. It's tiring. I mean, it's 24/7. It's day and night, and the poor marshals that we've actually got, that they're getting down, coming up, weighing the fish, weighing one fish, weighing another fish.
Yep.
Going off to do something else, and bang, they're back again. They have to go right the way back up the beach again to actually see what's going on.
Which can be a kilometre, nearly 2 kilometres in some sections, can't it? So, I mean, the guys, I've seen a couple over there with Rob Tuff and Lee Jackson, and they're shattered.
Yeah.
Because they've just weighed a fish, gone to weigh another fish at the other end, and then I've called them to say another fish on, so they've had to go back, get all the weighing gear, which was in the middle peg, and bring it all the way back. So I think they've done about 3 kilometres in 40 minutes on foot. So, yeah, they deserve a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, it's a tiring job. And I mean, Bianca and Lizette, I think they had an hour and a half, 2 hours sleep last night maximum. But a couple of marshals we spoke to, they're the same, literally an hour's sleep.
Well, if they're up, because they're catching, then the marshals are up, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's quality angling.
That's actually something different that we've done for this year. I mean, basically to actually make sure that as the fish are caught, the anglers are, the fish are being weighed directly, rather than actually keeping them in the sacks overnight and different things. I think that's much better, both from an angling perspective, for the fish preservation side of things as well. But on top of that, it means that the anglers can then get on to the next fish. And in fairness, if any photographs are required now, that the quality of cameras are actually around are sufficiently good enough that whether the photographs are taken during the day or at night, then the photographs that come back are tremendous.
I think that's a really important point from the fish safety point of view.
Look at this fish.
There we go.
I mean, there we go.
That's an absolute stunner.
Absolute stunner.
it's sort of that's the quality of the fish they've been catching all week, isn't it? You know, in the amount.
Look at the colours of this and how long that fish is.
Yeah, the physical, as you mentioned earlier, Ross, the physical work that you need to put in. These are not sitting on the bank and playing them in from an armchair. This is life jacket on, rod in your hand, your teammate grabbing the boat, the runner getting the boat ready, nets, mats, everything in the boat, 100, 200 metres out, playing a fish that does not want to come anywhere near you, and then bringing it all the way back, and then taking the rod back out, and then coming back. I mean, it's a huge amount of work involved.
Yeah, definitely. And look how good Bianca and Lizette look as well on 2 hours sleep. That's amazing.
That is incredible.
I mean, they are stunning fish. I mean, that's what I mean. We haven't seen one that's wrong, have we?
No.
Not a scale out of place on one
Beautiful,
fish.
all pristine, very clean fish.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lake and beautiful stock. It really is.
Well, I think we've got some footage of underwater footage, which would be good to have a look at and actually see what there is underneath the water in Lake Bolsena. We had the guys on from carpspot.de the other night, and they're explaining about some of the technology that they had. And I think it'd be good to perhaps have a look at some of the stuff that they've got, and actually what these cameras that they've got are able to see and view.
We are here at Pack 27 and there are already one fish caught here, so it's really difficult to catch a carp here. So the carps are on the other sections, but it's really difficult to catch a carp here. We are right now here with Audi. Audi already caught one. How is that a feeling? I mean, you caught your first carp after 5 days. It was really a hard blow for you, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. We saw very big fish jumping exactly on the marker.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get a bite. So we tried everything. We used a lot of different kind of particles. We colored them in different colors.
Yeah.
And Lars went out with Richard with the underwater camera.
Okay.
And he found a big gully between the high weeds.
Yeah.
And we put the rods there because I know you have to fish between the high weeds.
Yeah.
And you have to have clear places because that's where they're feeding.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I'm so glad he went with us because I couldn't think of a better runner. He can really move quick with the boat.
Yeah,
he has a lot of knowledge about fishing as well.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody with you who just can move the boat a little bit, you need somebody who understands.
Yeah.
Even when it's getting difficult to catch fish, you know, your temperament goes a little bit down. You think, what do we do wrong? But I was very confident when I saw this place, and I'm glad we still caught a fish. And I have a good feeling we're going to catch a big one here because on the right side we have in 1.5 kilometer we have no anglers.
Okay.
Only on the left side. So this is a spot without any pressure. So if there is big fish, they will move in.
You will catch it, yeah.
Let's hope so. We have one more, I think 24 hours to go or something, less I think. Well anyway, till tomorrow morning, and we're going to do our best.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the interview.
I must say, you guys do a really great job from Carp Spot Germany.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for the interview. See ya.
Well, that's fantastic to see some of a little bit of the underwater footage that the guys have got out there. But the cameras themselves, when they're actually in full action and all the screens and stuff being viewed from the shore, they really are. They're great to use. And given the clarity of the water here at Lake Bolsena, that it's an ideal location for them to actually utilise the cameras themselves. But there's a question that's just come in, and don't forget, if there are any questions that you'd like to ask us this evening, please feel free. We'll answer them live on screen. Go to Facebook or Twitter, and we'll happily answer the questions. But this is a question that's come in for Darryl, I guess. This is the Ammo Red a fish-based boilie? Here we go.
Okay, no, the Tiger Nut Red Ammo is not fish-based. There's no fish meal in it at all. It's a nut-based flour boilie, and it's full of natural sugars and natural aminos, so there's nothing artificial in there at all. And as I said the other day, it's based around our very successful Tiger Nut Classic boilie, which we're relaunching, and we've given it a fruit palatant to give it that extra twist. And as we've seen around the lake in the last week, it certainly works.
Yeah, it's a good all year round bait as well.
Very good, because we use some flavours in there from the ice cream industry that basically work in cold water, so the flavours are leaking out very well.
That's always a bugbear for me personally. You know, there's certain fish meals. I love a fish meal.
Yeah.
But in the cold weather, you're thinking, I've been feeding a fish meal all year through, and now I've got to change to something I'm a bit more confident in the cold water. So when you do find a bait that you can put in for 12 months, it gives you a bit more confidence.
Yeah, it's a very good choice. Very good choice.
Uncle.
But look, we've got quite a few things that are coming through on Facebook this evening, and I mean, if as I said, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask us those. They'll come up here, and we'll have a look and answer those for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some more guests coming on later as well, haven't we? That people might want to ask questions to. Obviously, Darryl will be here for a while as well for some more questions. Gerard from Dynamite's coming on as well. So a bit more, if anyone wants more sort of technical stuff on some of the other baits, then Gerard's your man on that. And then you've got Head Marshal, Andy Chambers coming back, and also big fish expert as well, and big water expert. So there's a myriad of people you can ask questions to, and I might even know the answer to something.
Are you sure, Nick?
I'll give it a go. So keep them firing away. You've got Twitter as well. Keep them coming, and the team behind the cameras can keep them coming. So I've just been passed a couple of questions as well, and I dread to think what's coming. The WCC has been held in France and now 2 years in Italy. Will it stay here, or are you looking at other venues for the future competitions? Bruce will probably be a good person for this, but I have also questioned him on this because I want to fish it next year myself. I think we can now officially say we're going to be back at Bolsena next year.
We will be, yeah. I mean, basically what we're aiming to do is the dates will be the same for next year. We will be back at Lake Bolsena, and I think one of the things that's always important is to make sure that when you go to an event, it has the facilities and has the infrastructure that's capable of hosting an event such as this. But we've got plenty of other options in terms of the future. The event won't always be held at Lake Bolsena. We've got options of in France, in other Eastern European countries. But these are big waters, and I think it's important that the World Carp Classic is known as a big wild water venue, and I think that's something that I'm always keen to maintain. I think that's important not only for the tradition of the event, but also for the style and for the type of event it is.
I mean, and just the logistics of the fact you've got over 400 anglers. You have to do it on a big lake. Just that's simply the first part of the jigsaw, isn't it? And then there's 100 other parts of the jigsaw which you know better than me. Accommodation, access, how expensive it is for people to reach, to make it feasible for a lot of people to join in. I don't envy you trying to find somewhere better than Bolsena, to be honest.
I think it's also the kind of water that anglers want to come and fish, because it's an unknown lake. They don't know what's actually going to be in there. They could get one of those really big Bolsena carp. It doesn't get fished that heavily throughout the year, and it's a great opportunity to come and catch a record fish.
Well, I think one of the things we've always done, and consistently over the years, is every venue that we've been to, we've been the first organisation and first company that have ever been able to have a venue closed down. At Medine, that had never been done before. From Medine, we went to Lacamont, again in France, and then from there we took on the Mighty Orient. And again, to have these vast expanses of water closed down exclusively for the competition, for 5 nights and 6 days, it really is a long time. And you need to work with the local communities and everything else. And it's quite complex. It's not just a straightforward thing. Oh, let's set up an event, let's run into the local lake, and away you go.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Talking about Facebook questions, there's a fair few coming in. I've got past a couple of them. I think this is quite an interesting question as well. Can we expect some internationals to come and fish some real? And I think that real is in italics and bold, actually. Some real white waters in South Africa, carp in the World Carp Classic next year.
Well, I think one of the things we're keen to do is to make sure that the World Carp Classic, and working with Dynamite and the guys, is going to be expanding into more qualifiers, more countries, and also, importantly, getting down into a grassroots level upwards as well, so that the event actually remains inclusive, not exclusive. And I think that's one of the things that's very, very important. Yep. So,
it's one of the questions we actually get asked quite a lot, Russ, especially from outside the UK when you're looking. Obviously, I spend a lot of my time on the social media. A lot of the people are saying, do we have to qualify to come and attend the event? And I think that's the greatest thing about it. I mean, in the traditional match fishing world, pole fishing, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, an open is the pinnacle of success. Everyone having an opportunity to win. If you win that, you've beaten all the best. And I think that's what makes this so much better than anything else, is that everyone who thinks they can do it gets the chance to do it. And that what makes the winners the best carp anglers for that year in the world when it comes to match carping.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit like the Open Championship in golf. You know, you look at that. You know, no matter who the top players are in the world, they want to get to the Open Championships, and this is, you know, it's an inclusive event. As I said, it's not exclusive.
Yeah, we talked the other night, didn't we? We had a few questions. I think, would there be one in America? And as I said, I've already spoken to a distributor in Japan, and they're very keen to come on board. Obviously, the logistics is something we need to get over, but I think we can organise something quite easily. So it'd be great to have qualifiers on each side of the globe, and like you said, make it more inclusive rather than exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, really, how we're talking about Japan, we've got people from the States here now, Dynamite with their support. I think, you know, where will it stop? I mean, it's quite exciting, really, to think that it can get bigger and better than this, and undoubtedly it will. So.
And also, I mean, the key aim is to get some qualifiers in the UK, because, you know, would be fantastic.
There's a lot of people there that I know.
I think that's making a lot of people's ears prick up. I guess.
Yeah.
I think qualifiers in the UK. That's kind of something.
I'm getting phone calls all the time. It's got to be this pair. It's got to be that pair.
Yeah.
Hear the likes of Hewitt and Bart that mentioned quite a lot as brilliant anglers, which they are. You know, people like Ben and Jamie, Londers, and people like that. You've got some awesome anglers. And Rob Marshall, Lee Merritt. I mean, you've got some people that would come out here, and if they represented their country, would do us all proud, I think. It doesn't matter what bait or company they're representing.
But I think the thing is the World Carp Classic covers obviously lots and lots of different countries, not just one. And I think to actually set up that structure, and the same structure, I mean, in as many different European countries and transatlantic countries as we can do, that's obviously the next step, the next evolution. And I think it's really good to be working with the guys from Southampton Solent University on the IT side as well, and the technology and the TV aspects of that, because these are all things we can bring into the next generation of what we want to do with the World Carp Classic. This is really not the end of where we are. This is not the pinnacle. We aim to go much further and carry on breaking new boundaries, and I think that's important, not just for now but for the future as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just moving on a bit, otherwise I think we could talk about that forever, couldn't we, that one? It's an exciting one. Last night, we had Henrik from Northern Baits on.
Yeah.
And you gave me another crazy list of people to catch up with today.
Surely not, Nick.
Yeah, Henrik was one of the first people I managed to catch up with, and I think we've got a quick VT here to see how he's getting on.
Right, well, let's have a look at that then.
Hi guys, my name is Henrik. I'm with my teammate Morten and my lovely wife Jana here, and sitting in Peg 108 at Club Carping. We're from a little bait company up in the middle part of Norway. This is our first time here, trying this stuff, battling it out with all the big guys and having fun doing it. We managed 2 days ago to get ourselves a carp. So our trip is saved. We're very happy with that and very pleased.
We're on the list now.
We're on the list,
yeah.
Right? And we feel like our goal has been achieved in a way, right? So we hear that many are not catching fish, and we're very pleased with ours. Anyway, we're here to test our baits, of course, as always, as well as ourselves, and to see how we'll do. And we've had a few problems with not being too many fish on our swims, but the bait we're more than comfortable in, and we still got our fingers crossed that there might be another carp, hopefully a big one, turning up for us. Of course, we're always positive to the last minute, and we really think that we will be fishing and right up till we hear the horn, and then it's off again back home to the cold waters of Norway, maybe to pack it in for the winter. But I think this is a great way to ending the season and catch a fish down at the famous Lake Bolsena in the World Carp Classics. So thank you guys, and hope to see you guys next year.
Well, that was great to hear from Henrik, and it was great to have had him on the show last night. As I trust you gathered, he's a real character, and the guys from Northern Baits are great fun people to be with. And I think the thing is that just the background of who they are and what they're doing, and how the whole situation arose with them, it's an intriguing story. But great fun, guys, and I'm sure you'll see a lot more of them in the future. But tonight, this is the fish show from the World Carp Classic live here at Lake Bolsena. It's an extended show this evening, so it's another half an hour longer. So if you're enjoying what's going on, there's plenty more to come.
I think that's down to the amount of footage that we've all seen to gather,
Yeah.
Daryl, in the last couple of days.
Yeah, we've got footage galore to show you tonight. There's another 5 or 6 videotapes, I think, for the show.
Loads of fish.
Lots of questions coming in as well.
Yeah, a load of questions. Obviously, we'll ship you off in a little while and get Gerard in.
Fine by
We've got
me.
some questions specifically for him as well. But I know you wanted to say a few things as well before you head
Yeah, I
off.
mean, obviously, we've had a great week. Obviously, Worth is coming, I think. Fair to say. And obviously, before I go and hand over to Gerald to take a few more questions, obviously, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to a few people. Obviously, Ross and all your team, the media team and the marshals. It's been fantastic. Big thank you to Gerald, who's obviously worked his socks off with me this week and last week, and all the Dynamite team that have been, really, really fantastic for our first event, which we didn't have a lot of time to prepare for. And thanks to Nick, for coming around us with the camera and being there in the right place and the right time. And also thanks to the girls for hopefully bringing the trophy home, and all the anglers that have fished very well. So thank you, everyone.
Cool. Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I'm glad
been a
it's
great
been. I'm glad you've really found it worthwhile from a sort of a personal point of view and as a business point of view.
Yeah, from a personal point of view, it's been fantastic, but from a
You
business
certainly
point of
got
view,
a good tan there, Darren.
yeah, I'm glowing. Quick shower and shave, and I should have bought some suntan
I think that's
cream.
gone past the tan.
Yeah.
I would say that was well cooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as I say, as we mentioned earlier, we literally haven't stopped for 5 days, really, have we?
No.
We do pass each other like ships in the night,
Yeah.
and then we go text each other and go, right, I'll meet you here at 1 o'clock. And that's when we catch up for a couple of hours, see a few of the anglers like we did with Frank Warwick and Larissa and Robbie, and you were obviously doing whatever
We're
crazy
whizzing
stuff you're
around,
up to.
different parts of the lake as well.
I don't know where you go, 'cause I never see you. I saw you this morning. Well, I don't think you're out in the lake.
And of course, we've got an early start.
Oh, right.
We've got an early start tomorrow to get down to the winning peg, I think. So
Yeah, although we don't know where that is yet, obviously.
I have a good idea.
Well, the plan is for tomorrow morning, what we aim to do is wherever the winners and the leaders are going to be coming from, we're going to be going down. We'll launch the rockets to signify the end of the event from there, and we'll make sure there's plenty of media crew on site to actually see and witness the moment that they are crowned unofficially as the winners of the event. The official crowning of the winners and champions will of course be done tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. The programme is going to be broadcast directly from the theatre tomorrow, so you'll be able to see that live and see what's going to go on. We've also got the Ferrari draw tomorrow as well, which will be that's going to be exciting, and to see who will actually win that and if that's actually won this year. And then over and above that, we've got a whole host of things that we're aiming to do tomorrow morning. So it's an early start up for everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not like we've had a lay-in yet, Ross, to be fair. But yeah, I think it'll be an hour earlier tomorrow. I think, to be honest, I'll probably get down there about 6:30 tomorrow, I think, and get a couple of sunrise shots and stuff as hopefully that's the sort of the dawn of a bit of history making, to be honest.
Could well be.
The first all-gold pair to win an event of any size like this, let alone the World Carp Classic. So,
but on the subject of weather and things and timing, there is actually a horrendous weather forecast that's actually due to hit us at the moment. I think there was mention of a typhoon or something hitting it.
There is a red typhoon warning out for tonight.
Which is, I mean, you can imagine running the event and end up with a red typhoon warning on the last night of the competition. That's a bit of a challenge, but anyway, we'll
so far so good. It's keeping off, isn't it?
Well, it could be 20 miles away in Malta at the moment, couldn't it? But yeah, it's at the moment it's okay. So anyone, I know there's a lot of guys and girls out there on the bank watching the live feed each night. Pack up nice, make sure the pegs are in properly, and hunker down tonight if it does come. And be careful out in the boats. Life jackets as always is a must, and I'm sure Andy will be buzzing around tonight, who we've got on later, making sure if there's any crazy people that are not sort of paying attention to those sorts of rules that they're dealt with.
Well, actually, what we're going to do after the show this evening, we're going to go out in the boats and have a patrol round, and because we've got the thermal imaging and the infrared imaging on the boats, and we went out and tested that today, and it's really, really good. So we'll get some footage of that, and we'll let you have a look at that later on. But really, what we're going to see is it's like daylight looking through the screen itself. It's really fantastic. So that's we're going to be out controlling the lake this evening, and just making sure all is well.
Yep, I'm not having to come into that, am I? Because I might sink the boat.
Fortunately, no, you're not.
Right,
you're
good.
not on that one.
I'm glad there was another thing that got thrown at me at the last minute. There was a few photos from the day. They come through all the time, don't they? So it's difficult to keep up with everything. It just shows to show that you can't really say any more superlatives about the carp in here. They are what they are. They're stunning. That's probably a pretty dark one, to be honest.
It is. I mean, you can see over the top, over its shoulders there, and that was quite dark.
Oh, another question. Okay. Yeah, they're just all the same, aren't they? They're mirror images of each other.
Yeah.
They're just, very rarely you see a dumpy one like we did yesterday,
yep.
or a slightly darker one. But in reality, they're sort of like St Lawrence fish almost, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're very nice, almost river fish.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, great fish. Right, okay. And another big one, Ross.
Here we go.
These aren't the easiest questions that the guys are picking for us tonight. But it's good to see that people are suggesting new options. Have you considered a multi-continent event?
A multi-continent event?
Yeah.
Well,
That means
I guess that
events
means
on at the same
dual,
time in different countries or different
I would say
continents.
that means a dual type thing.
Yeah.
So that the South Africans could have something going on there for that side of the world, perhaps. I'm
so a
guessing
bit
that's
like a
what they
Ryder Cup style event. Is that what you're saying, or?
No, I think what that probably means is two events running
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
Not sure how that could work.
I actually think running one event at a time. I think that's important, and that takes a lot of doing anyway, particularly on the size and scale that we're running these events. Smaller events, the principles are still the same. You still need to make sure that the actual components and the elements are actually in place to be able to run these events properly. But I mean, we're always open to ideas, and but I think we've got a very clear plan in terms of the future of what we want to do, the way we're going to do it, and also the expansion plan. In fact, the global expansion plan that we've got for this event. So
which is obviously Dynamite are going to play a massive part of.
Yeah.
And probably kick-started a bit more than we could have done without such a helpful sponsor that's on the same wavelength 100%.
As we said earlier in the week, I mean, obviously we already have distributors in 26, 27 of the countries, and that's ironic, the same amount of countries that are fishing the event.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the reasons we got involved, and, we want to work very closely with the distributors to arrange qualifying events and take it properly global and open it up to people.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, because obviously that doesn't mean, and I think a few people have got confused that it's going to turn into sort of one of the, I don't want to say rip-offs, although I just did, one of the smaller events that are around, and it sort of means that if you're not one of the ones that are picked, you don't get to fish the Classic anymore. That's not what we're talking about.
No, it's actually the exact opposite. That's the point. It's the fact that what we want to do is we want to extend the same ethos of the World Carp Classic down to really grassroots level, to make sure that really from local events that are being run, that the standards and the everything to actually do to run these events will be provided, the IT systems, the infrastructure and the support, and that they're actually standardised.
Nice.
And I think that's important to make sure that's done, because otherwise you can run events, you can expand events, and if you're not careful, they're run on multi-levels and multi-standards all over the world, and that's really not what we want. We want to have them standardised and also to make sure they're all part of the same overall global event.
I mean, I wonder if tonight we'll get the same finish to the show as we've had for the last 3 nights running. People won't have realised, unless they're following the social media, that the minute this show finishes, we get a phone call that someone's caught a decent fish somewhere at probably the furthest possible point from where we're sitting.
And that's happened the last 2 nights.
And I'm hopefully we'll get one tonight, another one where we can crack off and go and see. But we did actually manage to grab a cameraman. I think it was last night, wasn't it, or the night before?
Yeah,
even.
night before last. Yeah.
Where we went up and caught up with Paul Sharman, who's in a stunning little swim.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a VT to show how that went as well.
Excellent. Let's have a look at that then. We've just completed the live stream filming the programme, and during the show there were reports of fish being caught in different areas of the lake, in fact multiple catches. We're just off to see a capture that's in an area of the lake that had no fish caught so far, so we'll catch up from there and see what the fish is and see who's caught it very soon. Looks like the wind's up this side as well. Did it give you a good fight?
It did, because as it tore off, it went round the buoy marker.
All right.
The distance marker. So that was a bit of fun, untangling that and then continuing. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
Earlier we was going to go and change that rod, and we was going to change it.
Right.
Or just check it.
Yeah.
And it was just so windy, we thought, no, let's leave it until it calms down a bit.
Yeah.
We left it another half hour.
And that was it. So you pleased you left it?
Oh, well, you just, yeah. We lost one earlier.
Right.
The marshals were just here. They just left, and they hadn't gone past my van, and our rod ripped off. I'm playing the fish, and the called a quick link straightened out.
Oh, you're joking.
It was a big fish, yeah.
Oh, God, that's frustrating. But at least you got them in the area. That's it.
That's
so
the main thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
the
it.
first day we didn't fish because the weather was too bad. We couldn't get our spots. Not points, so we put chucked 4 rods out there.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Next morning, out, we found our spots. Paul come in and went, I've got the spot, perfect. I've come in, I went, that's definitely a fish. And so far, I've had a fish off it, he's had a fish off it.
Right, so you got the right spot. Well,
Yeah,
that's really good stuff then. Excellent.
Case of catching a few more.
Indeed, indeed. Well, it was certainly tremendous to catch up with the guys the other night and see and be part of the excitement that they had having landed that fish. And I think they're certainly very pleased with that, as I'm sure you can tell from the VT there. But we've just got another question that's come in, and I'd like to introduce Gerard as well. Gerard has joined us.
Hi, Ross, you all right?
Yeah, for the show this evening. We've been whizzing around the last few days.
Yeah, we certainly have. We've done a few miles around Lake Bolsena, Ross, this week. Going to different anglers, interviews. Pretty much like yourselves, you get to one team, and then you get a phone call. Somebody else has had a fish, so then you straight in van back round to them. But that's what we're here for, Ross. We want to see a fish. You put as much time in as you can to get them pictures out there. Yeah,
it's certainly non-stop. Well, one of the questions that we've got that's come in, what rig have the ladies been fishing?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a good question, that. I think there's a lot of people want to know the answer to that one.
Can I say anything? Yeah, I think they'll be all right with it. Well, it's the blowback rig. I mean, when you're boilie fishing or fishing what they're fishing, I mean, you can fish it different styles of blowback rig, but I think it's the all-time best for boilie fishing, isn't it, Nick, really? Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different variations of the blowback, whether you use the tubing, silicone or shrink tubing. I mean, we had the Frank Warwick one on yesterday. Yeah. Frank also said that was his all-time favourite.
That were interesting, Nick. Obviously, the girls are just using the ring. Obviously, a long shank hook. Yeah. The fishing decent-sized boilies. These fish, they are that wild and they are that powerful. When they're sucking that bait in, I mean, that bait's going right back. And when they're blowing it back out, because of the power in them, that loop, the ring on the shank, on the long shank, is just travelling down that shank, and it's really piercing that hook in, don't you think?
I mean, I think it's really important that, I mean, personally, from my point of view, when boilie fishing, which is what I do an awful lot of the time, the bigger the bait, the easier it is for them to blow out, because of, obviously, in my eyes, that extra weight of the boilie.
That extra weight, yeah, that density.
Which is when that sort of, I use the ring on the shank as opposed to the tubing, purely because I think that obviously the boilie flying back without actually moving the hook at the same time just gives you that split second extra. Whether it makes any difference, who knows? Yeah. So from my point of view, I definitely have more confidence in the bait flying back and the hook not being affected.
Yeah, I must admit. I mean, if I am boilie fishing, which like yourself, Nick, I do quite a lot of. I know the girls here, it's very weedy, so they're using quite long hook lengths. Yeah. As to opposed short hook lengths when you're fishing boilie, especially in weed. I know their hook length's about 15-inch long, so it is quite long. I know they're not casting, so there's less chance of tangling, and they're dropping it out of the boat. But like I said, it's working. I've been around to all the Italian guys and the other teams that we have in, and like Frank Warwick yesterday. Yeah. They all seem to be using this long hook link, but that were quite interesting. What Frank were on about. I mean, I know a lot of people do it, but Frank actually gets shrink tube. When he's fishing the blowback, and actually shrinks it so your hair is actually solid on the hook, so there's not much movement in it. And like he said, he uses that kind of method because he knows whether it's being done or not. Yeah. When it's blowback with a ring or a piece of silicone, with it being easy, sometimes
You
you,
never
can,
really know, do you?
you never really know. So that was a good point. What Frank
Guys,
did.
I'm just going to interrupt you there just a sec. There's been some movement on the leaderboard
Oh.
in the last few minutes.
Yeah, well,
so
those were caught while I was there, luckily.
yeah, look
couldn't
at that. So there's the guys Lee Jackson and Rob Tuff are now up to second with 171.1 kilos with 16 fish. They've overtaken
So they've had another one since I've left then, because they were on 30 when I left. There was 2 in the sack, which we caught live on camera, and they've had another one since then. I mean, the gap now, as we said earlier, that's a big old gap. I think you could probably safely say at this point that we're going to have a bit of history tomorrow morning, and that those Dynamite girls are going to do something rather special. I mean, they've done it already. I mean, if they finish second, the story is still pretty exceptional, but I don't personally think they are. And we'll get Andy's opinion on that when he comes on later. I know the Austrian guys have struggled today. I know it's slowed up, and Rob and Lee have found what is rather a sexy spot. And they are fishing super tight together, literally 2-3 feet away from each rod.
Right.
And they're getting runs quite consistently now, and I think they'll keep going tonight. So they might close the gap a little bit, but not totally. And I think they might well stay where they are.
We'll keep an eye on that during the show this evening, just to see how that's going. So we'll come back to that in a bit. Gerard, another question for you: how many guys are using the zig rig approach?
Well,
surely that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I mean, this lake is, well, the depth of it is, well, it's so unpredictable. I mean, some areas you go out, you have 2, 3, 4 metres off the rod tips. Some places you go and you have 280 feet off the rod tips. So I know a few of our guys have been fishing in the deeper water. They've been fishing zigs, but
I think that's the last resort here.
It's a last resort, yeah. I mean, to fish zigs in this depth, it has to be an adjustable zig. It's impossible to fish anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, I was with someone today who was fishing a 65-foot zig.
65-foot zig.
In 170 feet of water.
It's pretty scary, isn't it, when you think about it like
that?
Yeah,
he said it took him about 5 minutes to pay the line out on the adjustable to get it anywhere near the surface and then drop it back down.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, there are some areas, and they change every year. There are some areas that have been a bit fishless.
Yeah.
And I think that's been dominated by the depths that the fish have wanted to be in. They have not wanted to be in front of them, and obviously that will change each year. But where they've struggled because of the depth and the distance before. I mean, we were with one guy, they had 30, 40 yards, and then it went from 20 feet down to 170.
Yeah, deepest some of our guys got was, I think it was 140, 150 metres.
Yeah,
like
and for people that don't know the history of Bolsena, obviously it's a volcanic lake.
It's actually the biggest volcanic lake in Europe.
Yeah,
the lake itself.
And as a result, obviously, where you look at the lake, that's apparently where the original crater was. And obviously, as they've created the lake, they've then flooded the shallower side of the lake. I think it was Frank that was telling me this yesterday. Yeah. And that's where the successful anglers have been this year.
But what's interesting is the carp this year and the guys that are in the lead are in a totally different part of the lake from last year. Yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, if last year the guys were doing well.
Was it on Gradley Beach, was it?
Yeah, along Gradley Beach. It's in a completely different area.
Yeah, which is where Rob and Lee have sort of very end of that section, haven't they? Or the very start of that section. But we've really struggled off that beach this week. We've seen a few fish over the last couple of days.
But look at these stunning fish. I mean, it's absolute stunners.
Coming off that beach that did do the winner last year. But obviously it's not achieved anything like what it achieved last year. So that's the luck of the draw, isn't it? And why the lake is so. I think you were there, Ross, when these photos were taken. If anyone,
I was.
There's a bit of a story to this one.
It actually turns out that it was his birthday. They just celebrated his birthday. They'd sung him happy birthday. They got all the flags and everything out, and that's they just put all the stuff on his head and everything there, and bingo. His rod went off, and what a great birthday present he had by landing that fish. He was absolutely thrilled. It was certainly one heck of a birthday present he had.
Yeah, it was not a bad way to celebrate the day, and I don't know how those guys have been doing overall, or whether they've been struggling along. So it's just when you're in a match, anything is when you're fishing in general, isn't it, Joe? You just for a carp angler, it seems crazy to try and explain it to a non-angler. when you get that run, you feel like a little kid, aren't you? The wibbly knees and
It's like a kid opening his presents at Christmas, isn't it? You know, everything just goes out at window, and all that you do is you just focus on that rod.
yeah.
And
On a lake
that
like
alarm.
this, on a lake like this, you hook into a fish and the legs start going.
Yeah.
The
Well, even
adrenaline's-
yours, Nick.
Even mine, the adrenaline's pumping, and you never know, do you?
Yeah.
In here, it could be enormous, couldn't it? So you just never know on here.
That fish today, Nick, you were there. We just pulled up outside the Italian guys.
Yeah,
that 18
down on
kilo,
Gradley Beach,
that
yeah.
18 kilo fish, and I actually saw them just like pulling it out of the water, and I thought, that's a decent fish. That I mean, it's the like you said, the quality of the fish. They've probably never been caught before. The beautiful golden colours, pristine condition. I mean, that just made me want to get my rods out.
Yeah.
I mean, I love being here, but I can't wait to get home to get my rods out. Nick, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it's 2 weeks with no fishing.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a little bit mouthwatering, the prospect of fishing here for sure. But I mean, it just goes to show the pictures that are rolling up behind us now, or to the side of us. I mean, it's been a real busy day for fish captures today. I mean, we because we're buzzing around like we do, we struggle to see many of them. We always seem to.
We're
miss
in the
them.
spot that the fish aren't.
Yeah, it was, but today I think our luck charm's been turned back on, and we've managed to see. As I said with Darryl earlier from Dynamite, and obviously Gerard, we bumped into 2 fish today. I've had another 2 live on camera while I've been with Lee and Rob. You've seen a load of fish today as well. So it's just been. It's been a
great day. They just seem to have turned on, don't they? I mean, we always said Big Fish Friday, and it looks like it's. It's been.
Yeah, there could
true
be
to its
a
word.
real chunk out tonight as well. I think. I mean, it's the same for fishing anywhere abroad. You know, we'll talk to Andy about this because I could talk to him for hours about his big lake fishing. But a lot of people lose confidence after day 1 or 2 and start playing around different areas where they've already spent a couple of days baiting. And I know it's it's not always the sort of way that I would fish in the UK at all. I'm a lot more sort of mobile and trying to get on fish. When you're there for a week, the opportunity to try and let them build confidence in your area and stay confident in what you're doing, which is what the girls have done, and what Rob and Lee have done. I mean, they spent the first 2 days without a touch until they lost one when I was in the swim. And they've stayed exactly with that technique, and eventually it started to really kick in.
But speaking to Andy over the years, and in terms of Andy's fishing exploits, I mean, he'll go somewhere sometimes for 4, 5, or 6 weeks, or sometimes even longer. And it'd be great to catch up with him shortly and really get some of his views. You know, I think he may well be one of the only people, if not the only person, to have ever caught 2 70s from the Orient.
And there's people that spent a damn sight longer on there than Andy to have caught them.
Exactly.
So. There's the girls again with another stunner, and Ross in the background there. They really are kicking on, aren't they? Just a few shots from around the lake that you've managed to.
That's actually slightly. That's if you go back to the other shot there, just one. That's the one. That's just slightly up from where the girls are fishing. That goes to a long beach, and from there that then goes right the way up into Gradley. And up and then right the way around the top of the lake. So
yeah, the map of the lake itself is on the worldcarpclassic.com website, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So if people want to get a bit of perspective as to where the girls are, that will help them to have a look and see where the other sort of top place teams are. They can see all that on worldcarpclassic.com.
You can see them out there, can't you? Just how clean they are.
Yeah, but they're also enormous.
For
the size of the fish, they are enormous. Christ,
I mean, a lot of people
eating.
is fishing 26 mils with a snowman on. I mean,
it doesn't touch the sides, does it?
No.
They are literally. I've seen. I think we had one on live TV a few months back.
Yes,
Someone put 4 fingers in a 25-pound mouth.
It was absolutely enormous. The mouth was huge.
You could literally fit a tangerine in there.
Yeah.
So when people are worried about, oh my God, they're using a size 4 hook and 40
nothing.
mil hook bait, it literally does not touch the sides.
Well, look, we've seen quite a lot of the girls. I think it's important to have a look at some of the other anglers that are competing in the event. Let's have a look at Team USA and see how they've been getting on.
Yeah, why not?
I'm standing right on top of the tower here in Lake Bolsena. This is the tower of the castle, the top of Bolsena. Just to my right-hand side here, this is the radio transmission mast, which we've climbed right the way up here to put up. And we'll give you a view of really how high up this is from ground level. And I think you'll gain an idea. Certainly, in the ancient times, I wouldn't like to have been up here having to pour fat and oil in through these holes, looking over the edge, because it's a very, very long way down. But as you can see, behind me, it's a fantastic view, a fantastic panorama. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get down from this tower, hopefully in one piece, and then we're going to have a walk around the lake and meet some of the competitors and show you some of the different sections of this fantastic lake. There's fish being caught everywhere, so that's a great thing, and we look forward to introducing you to some of the competitors. So it's the second time we meet at Lake Bolsena this year, and it's directly opposite where we were fishing last time when we did Bolsena Live.
I'm hoping that's going to be a good thing, but I think Larissa was further...
I was over there last year.
And we certainly didn't want to be there. I didn't really want to be where I was last time, just not enough fish. And obviously with the wind turning and pushing into us here, you've got to fancy your chances. It's just whether the fish turn up.
So have you seen any fish around here?
I've seen them crashing, actually. They've been coming up. I think they just haven't really showed up just yet. I've sent out the invitations. However, I think they're just fashionably late, because, I mean, that's what I would do if I was a carp. I mean, we put out a good spread out there, some great boilies and some particle mix, but they just haven't showed up yet. So we got the wind kind of coming towards us, and I think it's going to bring the fish. I'm hopeful, because this is a good spot. It caught fish last year, so I have a feeling we're going to catch fish, and they're going to be big fish.
Excellent. Well, that's a good thing. So, I mean, tactics and style and when...
Well, the problem is, and there's no point denying it, because of the live stream, even me with 25 years experience, I've come here, and even though I know it's probably not going to happen like that, we set up, we took the rods out, and we were expecting the action
to go straight away.
Like the live stream. And maybe it's more through just, you know, being a hopeless romantic and the carp fishing is going to smile on you. But I so wanted it to be that, not just for me, but she's travelled all the way from America twice in 1 year to fish the same lake. I wanted what we did in practice to just kind of happen now.
You actually caught your personal best in Bolsena.
I did. I caught my personal best on Lake Bolsena here in Italy, and I'm hoping to break that this week at the World Carp Classic. I know this is a big fish area. They're here. We just need to bring them into our swim.
Well, good luck with that. I'm going to leave you guys to concentrate on that and catch a few more fish.
When you come back, well, I'm hoping this time just don't dump water on my head when I have a big carp, okay?
Well, what's been happening is in quite a few swims, I mean, people are getting multiple catches now.
That's what you need.
Yeah, and that's it. But you saw it. You saw it for yourself. I mean, you know, when we're fishing over at Capodimonte.
It just needs to turn on. We still got, what, 2-3 days?
Oh, yeah.
And I think we figured out the swim. We figured out some good spots. We have the perfect bait laid out for us. We know what they're feeding on from the practice from the live streaming a few months ago, so we're just waiting for them to show up.
That's about it.
There we go. That's it. Next time we come, we want to see a fish on the bank.
Okay.
No problem.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that was Jason and Larissa actually bringing us up to speed with their views and what they're aiming to do, and I think it was good to see the ideas that they had in terms of how they were going to fish and continue to fish in the swim they had. But please feel free to continue to send us questions in. We're getting quite a few questions in now, and I think, Nick, you've just got another one that's come in now.
Yeah, this is quite a good one, and one that I'd probably have asked myself. Obviously, we've had a lot of pictures up, and there's been a theme running through them. They've all got lots of scales on them, and they're golden. And the question here
they're
is,
called carp.
Yeah, have there been any mirror carp from this year's competition so far? Obviously caught. The only one I know of, which hasn't been caught but has been hooked, was Andrea and Davey, an Italian pair that we caught up with today, fishing for one of the Dynamite teams, and they were gutted because they'd lost a really good mirror at the net.
Really?
So you know, they wouldn't have said it if they hadn't.
How did they lose that one?
I think just a hook pull. I think wasn't it?
Just in weed, yeah, just in weed. I mean, I don't really understand Italian, but I understood where they were coming from when they were telling me, and it was his birthday as well today.
Oh no! So you've actually got two people that are participating in the event whose birthdays they are today.
Yeah.
I mean, he was obviously gutted. I mean, I would be as well. I mean, there was 3 mirrors caught last year.
Yeah.
During the event itself, and at the moment we only know of one that's been hooked and unfortunately lost. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a tiny percentage of the lake stock but it does make those ones that do get caught even more special in
Yeah.
my eyes. I mean, I love a mirror carp, so if someone gets them, it'll be pretty special to have a mirror on the mat tonight, hopefully. So yeah, that's the answer to that one.
So I think it's exciting to see how the fishing's actually going at the moment, and the fact that certainly, as Nick was saying earlier on, it seems to be very consistent. After the show's finished, suddenly we get a call to say, yeah, fish on, and then it turns out to be almost one of the points furthest away from where we're actually doing the show. So a 45-minute drive or almost an hour's worth of driving there to actually see the fish. It's quite something, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that people really try and get their head around the size of this place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mind-boggling, really. And when you look at some of the photos, you think, hold on, there's a carp in the ocean there, but it's not. It's just enormous, and the tracks and everything that you have to try and find. I mean, I've got lost so many times today, trying to find people. I was looking for Tom from ATT.
Right.
I never found him.
Really?
He's been there the whole time. But so I'm going to have to catch up with him in the morning. I've got better directions now. So yeah, it's crazy, the size of the lake. It literally takes an hour and 45 minutes to do a circuit, if not more sometimes, depending on what you get stuck behind. And yeah, it's an amazing place. Really is incredible. It'd be an awesome place to come on holiday.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, this isn't just like, here's a little lake. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. And it's actually very accessible. Flying into Rome, it was an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes from Rome. You can fly into Rieta, which is not far from here either. That's in the north. And it's accessible through a multitude of airlines, both nationally and, of course, internationally. So I think that's
hundreds of campsites
Yeah, I
and
was just going to say
B&Bs.
that, Nick. All campsites along the beach. It's absolutely superb, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's cheap as chips as
Yeah.
well, isn't it? Around for. I mean, we had an enormous meal, slightly bigger than I was expecting last night with the guys from Dynamite. It's really good value out there. I'll definitely be dragging the missus back.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have the rods in the
you
travel rods
reckon?
in the thing. But yeah, it's a stunning place to come for sure.
But yeah, I think part of that was one of the things that I was first attracted to when I came over here with Andy Chambers, and we're looking at the venue and considering it as an option after Medine. It really was a stark contrast in terms of Medine is in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Beautiful place, it really is, and great fish in there. And actually, I mean, the majority of fish in Lac de Medine in France are actually mirror carp rather than common carp. So it's almost the exact opposite. So there's another question coming in. Here we go. This is a question: particles or boilies for Bolsena? Gerard.
Open question. I was just thinking. Actually, when I'm sat here, I was just thinking things running through my head, and I was just going to say, what do you think? I'm going to put Nick on the spot, and what do you think percentages for people catching on nuts, or the percentage for people catching on boilies, or pop-ups, or anything like that? Personally, if I was fishing it, I'd go for the boilie approach. It's that big of a lake. When that wind gets up with the undercurrent particles, it's
gone.
It's going to be gone, yes, unless you've got a reasonable depth, or you're fishing up to weed, where a little bit of few particles are going to hang around, Nick, and keep fish interested.
From my point of view, big fish eat boilies. I mean, whether that, obviously there's a lot of fish caught on sort of enterprise corn and tiger nuts and stuff, and they've all got their place. But if you gave me one bait for the rest of my time, it would be a little round ball.
Yeah. I mean, all the guys, certainly in our team, I mean, it's been fantastic. They've all caught on various boilies, different boilies.
Yeah, also,
Banana
I mean,
Nut Crunch,
yeah.
Red Ammo, the new one.
Different colours.
They crave different colours. I mean, I must admit, Nick, well done. You did predict that they like yellow, and a lot of carps come to a yellow pop-up on a snowman.
I think all of your team that have caught fish have caught them on your pineapple.
On pineapple,
wangers,
yeah, all on the pineapple pop-ups, yeah, all tape, yeah. So it's been great going around. I mean, different tactics, different styles, different baiting approaches. I mean, we know what Bianca's doing. We haven't seen any of the other guys in our team doing it. So obviously that's working. It has been great. I mean, some people, a lot of nuts has gone in.
I would say that 70% of the teams have been putting that in as a
as
loose
well.
feed.
Yeah.
Because obviously it stays out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's very little trouble with the nuisance fish. I'm not sure if there's any problems with crayfish on here. I haven't heard of any. But if there were crayfish for your waters, you know, the boilie and tiger nut as a mixture is something I use quite a lot in the UK, just because you know something's there. But talking about bait, yesterday we caught up with the legend that is Frank Warwick, and we asked him a couple of questions on bait. I think we've got a VT here to have a look, so we'll have a look at that now.
Okay, we've got another question from Kenny Hempson, who is asking, what's the best liquid additive you've used and why?
I've used a lot of very good liquid additives over the years, but one of my particular favourites is the tuna amino liquid that we do in the bait company I'm with now, with my own name on it.
Yep.
And the reason I like that one so much is because it sinks to the bottom and stays within the baited area. You can coat your baits with it, use it in a method mix, bag mix, it's PVA friendly. From the feedback we're getting, it just appears to be a winning formula, you know, and I really, really do like that. It has made a difference to my fishing, you know, and yeah, I would say that's the main reason. Sometimes I like liquids that give a slick, so I combine the two, you know. I'll use it with halibut oil. Halibut oil's, you know, basic, but that's another good additive for people. And there's lots of good ones, but that's one of my particular favourites, you know. Brilliant. So that would be it.
Okay, thanks Frank.
No problem.
Well, it was great to catch up with Frank, and I trust you enjoyed some of the comments and that he made about his bait tactics and what he's been up to. But delighted now to introduce and welcome Andy Chambers to the show this evening. Welcome, Andy.
Good evening, Ross. Just wanted to correct you on that earlier point you made about 2 Orient 70s. Obviously 3 Orient 70s.
Do you know, that was really good. I was saying that just to make sure you're paying attention at the back of the set there. So well done.
I was glued to it. It's been a really good programme every week.
So you've had 3 separate. They're not all the same one that you put in the sack, rehooked.
No, my name's not Nick.
So you had 3 different 70s.
3 different 70s.
One of the hardest lakes there is, really, isn't it?
The hardest lake in the world, yeah.
Yeah, it is rock hard. I mean, not just the actual fishing itself, but the conditions that you have to put up with. Tell us a little bit about some of the swims that you fish on places like that.
Well, it's not just obviously the swims, you know, on the Orient, especially in the autumn, water levels going down, so you have to follow the water levels going down. So you're in the mud day in, day
How
out.
How deep is the mud, Andy?
The mud can go up to your knees at times.
Yeah, and you're in that for weeks on end.
Weeks on end. Obviously, you try to bivvy up in a nice, reasonable spot where it's fairly comfortable. But you know, the further away you are, obviously, the longer you're away from your rod, so you don't want to be too far. So you have to make it a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, you've been buzzing around today. I've bumped into you a fair few times.
Well, yeah, haven't we? Passed around here and given a few tips. There's an 18 kilo here, or it's a 20 kilo there.
Yeah, you did do. I was taking some photos in one place. Then another one was being played in the boat.
Yeah.
You went to double check what that was.
Exactly.
Came back and told me whether I needed to go. And
it started to get a bit busy. I think it was like pegs 38 to 41.
So what area? That's on the Gradley Beach, isn't it?
Gradley Beach, yeah.
Which is where the winners won from last year.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's taken a while for that area to sort of pick up, hasn't it?
It has, but it certainly seemed to have picked up while we were there this afternoon.
Maybe we should go back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything on the radio since we got back, but it certainly seemed to be happening when we were there.
So now that obviously we've got just a few hours left of the event, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, the hooter goes for the end.
Yep.
Do you expect any surprises?
Well, just under the top 3 is I think there's 3 Italian teams really making a move.
Okay.
Peg 41, Peg 46, and Peg 53 are all doing fairly well. Are only around about 100 kilos. I was in Peg
third place.
Off third place, I was in Peg 53 and I've had 6 fish. Today, really fishing well, and the fish seem to be out there.
Yeah.
Peg 46 in the harbour at Capital Monte. I've had a good day yesterday. Only had a couple of fish since.
So that's where we did the live TV a few months back.
Exactly, in that swim, exactly.
Right. That's a really good swim. I mean, we know that. I mean, even being there, Nick, when we were there for what, 3 days.
Yeah. 3 days of live streaming.
35 fish were caught. In 3 days.
Yeah.
So obviously we had a few more rods than the guys are allowed in there. We had. I think we had 8 rods in total.
But this is if we go down to the if we go up from here. And keep going up. What we'll see is that just the latest catches that are coming in. If you keep on, there we go.
There you go.
Keep going. Here we go. So yeah, look, these are the different fish that are being reported in.
Obviously, Lizek, we had the 22 kilo last night. His team.
Yeah,
the same peg have had another fish.
5.3, just scrape in because 5 kilos is the smallest fish. There's another one here. Look, PBTV 5.6. That's another small one as well.
There you go. You see, peg 53 is quite a lot of Giancono Rikushi.
Yeah, look,
there's a lot of fish coming from there.
Yeah, but
53.
they all seem to be quite small fish. Look, 7.4, 7.9, 8.5.
It's been a bit disappointing. Obviously, we put it back a month.
Yeah.
Because we were expecting bigger fish.
And exactly the opposite seems to have happened.
Yeah, I think there's 4 20 kilo pound, 20 kilo fish.
Yeah, if we keep on going down to the bottom, it shows some of the statistics actually on the event so far. If you just keep going up.
At the end of the day, they're not small fish.
They're not small fish.
No,
20 kilos is nice.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the people that are watching this, that's a lot of people's dream, isn't it? To catch a fish over £30 English.
Yeah.
So
which is 13, 14 kilo.
Yeah. So we've
here we go. Here are the stats at the moment. We've got 226 fish that have been caught. There's 2,427.5 kilos. The average weight of all the fish that have been caught so far is 10.7 kilos. There's been 4 over 20 kilos and 33 over 15 kilos. So still, the
average weight's about £25, isn't it? Just under £25.
Yeah.
Which is lovely.
That's a lovely.
It's good angling to
exactly. But we know what this lake can hold. The potential.
Yeah, the potential is mind blowing, really.
It's some awesome fish.
God knows what's in here. But obviously, we spoke about the Queen last night.
Yeah.
The Queen of Bolsena, who's sort of up in the 70s.
Yeah. £71, 32 kilo.
Which I'm sure you've got your eye on.
It'd be nice, but I've heard, from a commercial netsman.
Yeah.
Fish of close to 40 kilo. Which is mind blowing.
I mean, there could easily be a world record in here.
Whether you could get that fish ever.
Well, if that fight's like the
20 kilo fish, well,
I think you'd need a lot of space and a very big boat.
Yeah, you would do.
Because these fish are like
and a very strong rod as well, by the looks of things.
Yeah, these are like nothing I've seen before with the way they fight on here. They just aim for the middle, don't they?
They just go for it, don't they?
I mean,
just don't hold it back.
It's the way that when Lee Jackson had his run today while I was there. The guys have got a nifty little sort of conduit pipe built into the front of the boat, which is maybe something you'll use. Basically, you just put the rod butt into the tube, so you've got one hand free for your manoeuvring your boat, and then the other one you use for your reel so you haven't got to hold a rod basically. And Jacko, he claims to be old and decrepit, but he was in there pretty fast, wasn't he? And off.
There's no holding back with these fish. You don't get an odd bleep or
it
just goes
out of the
bang.
blue.
It's just like
when
crazy.
we went to see the South Africans the other day, I mean, they had literally had their rods ripped out, the rod ripped out of the rod rest, and he said, look, my alarm. He said he's got dragged right into the water. That was it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of the anglers around the lake are actually saying. They're commenting on how strong these fish are, and that seems to have been consistent over the since last year as well.
Exactly, it's just a buzz. With us carp anglers, it's just about the buzz. When that buzzer first sounds,
it's totally out of the blue, isn't it?
That's what we want. And when it happens at Bolsena, well, you never know.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, that's when the legs start wobbling. And even people like Lee Jackson, Lizette, and the girls from Dynamite, I mean, they've caught huge fish. I know, I think it was Lizette that caught the shoulders out of Abby, over 80 pounds.
84 pounds, which, world record. World record.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not like they're novices out here who got lucky, is it?
No, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're pretty clued up.
They're good carp anglers.
So it just goes to show that, everyone, it's carp fishing, isn't it? It's such a buzz for us guys.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the media crew are starting to get to understand that now after a week.
Yeah.
What it means to us lot to sort of see it all happen, really.
Well, here's a good question that's come in. Once a fish is on and takes you past the 250 metre mark, are there any limits on how far over the boundaries you're allowed to land the fish?
Not really, no. Obviously they can go out as far as is reasonable. Obviously, is obviously discrepancies if they go left or right. They might go through another angler's swim, but obviously that's where we like to see a bit of sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Of course, it could happen to the peg next door. The same could happen again. So, it's.
The thing is, I mean, it's a question of being sensible as well.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I mean, when you got a fish on and the fish is actually literally towing you and the boat, That's you just have to.
Yeah, I mean, you try and bully a fish that's that powerful. It's going to break you off. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you're not sort of taking the mickey by the way you're just letting it sort of flop around and go wherever it wants.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a pretty harsh neighbour to have a moan about a fish towing you about. And obviously the only limitation on distance is how far it decides it wants to take you.
And on this lake, that could be a long way, by the way.
Yeah, it could be Martha or across
just
the
stick the boat in reverse.
Yeah.
Keep it in reverse and keep going.
Well, that's using a lot of batteries.
Earlier on today, we went out to test some of the Ray Marine kit that we've got here, and it was intriguing because we went out to look at the different drop-offs and things with the fish finder and echo sounder, and we went out to one of the islands which has got 7 churches on, and is one of the retreats actually for the Pope going back years and years and years ago. And there were absolutely hundreds of fish around that lake. Really big carp that showed up on the fish finder. Incredible. Really, really, really was.
Are you able to, as an angler, Ross, coming here out of competition, can you fish off the islands?
No, I mean, in fact, it's a private island. It's actually owned by a princess.
Or the Pope.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, this is the island we went to earlier on today, and
so how far, to give a bit of context, how far is that offshore?
Well, from Bolsena to the other side is 7 miles.
Right, okay, so
that's
you're
how wide
a couple of miles.
So you're at least a mile and a half, 2 miles off the bank just to get to an island.
Yeah,
mad.
Yeah. That's from this side.
100-foot cliffs on the island itself.
Absolutely sheer drop.
Yeah, it's breathtaking, isn't it? I mean, when you look at, obviously because of its volcanic nature, you've got some crazy little escarpments and caves, and I've seen all sorts of tunnels that as a kid I'd have been up and down in.
Yeah.
It's just all sorts to look at. I mean, bamboo forests all around the place. I mean, it is quite tropical, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a lake goes. Just the sheer size is always something that takes you back when you come around a corner, into a new area that you haven't been to, and you just think, wow, where would you start?
But yeah, it's there's a great ice cream shop in Capodimonte. We found that. That's really good. Homemade ice cream. That's really good.
So to give a bit of context as to, can you point out where the girls are for people to know, so they can see sort of where the different areas are?
At the moment, I mean, what you've got is we're right away over here in Bolsena. Capodimonte here is pretty much diagonally across, and as you actually come up here, there's the beach in Capodimonte.
Just go under the red boat.
Yeah, and just about
there.
About there.
That's it.
That's exactly the point the girls are actually fishing, and that in itself, just over here, it's right on a point. There's a long beach, and in fact, you have to walk through all the bamboo shoots and stuff to get to it.
500 metres walk to get to them.
There's also an inlet, isn't there? Not too far from them, a river inlet that's clouding up the water a bit.
It's a small one, yeah. But obviously we're not had much rain the last few days, so it's not been too bad. But tonight might change.
I think we're going to get that's due to come down tonight.
So to give a bit more context, obviously. Would I be right in saying this was Gradley Beach? Where am I?
Gradley Beach is up around this
Gradley's
area here.
right along there.
So that's where the winners. That's where the winners were last.
No, right down the bottom.
Last year,
come down.
If you come up,
we probably called it Dead Dog Beach now. It's really neat.
They found a dead dog on it.
Along
here. You go.
Where M2 is.
Right in this area here.
Yeah,
this is where the event was won from last year. So from where it was won from last year to this year is probably the best part. By road, it's about 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And probably about 8 miles away, Andy.
Yeah, something like that.
And the next town round for people at home from Capodimonte is Marta here.
Yep.
And that's where Rob Tuff and Lee Jackson are.
Just probably where the end of a green bit is.
Yeah.
Just further along. That's it, about there.
This end.
That's it.
And they're fishing sort of 200 yards. That island here, we did a little distance check on, is just over a mile offshore.
So that actually gives you some perspective in terms of how big the lake is. From here to here is 1 mile.
Yeah, so it's useful for people to know, because we throw a lot of numbers out there. Swim 120, swim 104, number 2, number 8, and it's a little bit difficult to keep track of it. I'm lost, and I've been here a week. So for people to sort of understand that is sort of priceless if you're just thinking about coming out here yourself, isn't it, for your own angling?
Exactly.
That map and and sort of where the fish reports have been from this year and last year, which you can both find online.
Exactly.
I mean, you and I would definitely be scouring that if we were coming here on our own, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it's two main areas where you can actually night fish on the lake.
Whereabouts
at Bradley,
on that beach?
over on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Roughly between about 8 and 10 o'clock as you look at the map. And also at Monteviscone along the bottom, say 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Those are the kind of the pegged areas you can fish.
So they
you
can
can kind of
fish
pick
this
along there, right along that area stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were coming on your own, it's legal night fishing.
That's it. You can,
all the way along this bottom end here,
and a bit up here,
and over along that. So there's a big area.
Yeah, up around the top. Here in Bradley.
There's 18 prepared pegs on there.
And that's obviously a fair few kilometres covered there. That's not.
There's a lot of kilometres.
There'd have to be a lot of anglers on the lake for you to see anyone else, wouldn't there?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's quite accessible, easy to get to. I mean, that's a beach.
Yeah.
You can park the car literally 20 inches from the swim.
And then you fish almost out the back of your car. It's really easy fishing, and I think that's one of the things that helped make the decision coming to Lake Bolsena. It's comfortable fishing. We've been other venues we've been at before. We've had to boat literally sort of 30 to 40% of the competitors out to islands, through woods and different things. I mean, there's some of the areas we fished and some of the areas we pegged in the past at some of the previous venues have been. I mean, it's a totally different lake.
There are a couple of precarious ones.
There is.
I did hang on tight in the little Ford C-Max on the way down to Frank Warwick section.
Yep. That's quite hairy in places.
Yeah, and if that typhoon comes in later, I would have no doubt that we would struggle to get back up it for sure.
Right.
There's quite a lot of river sort of turrets where you can see where this come through.
You'd probably have to reject you, and you'd have to walk up.
Yes, you would probably have to walk.
That might make it a bit easier.
Yeah, that'd be a starting point.
Yeah, the car would make it easier.
Yeah, cheers Andy. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so I mean, obviously as we were talking about earlier, I managed to get out with the guys from Dynamite Baits today, and yesterday, and the day before. We've caught up with quite a few of their teams, and I think we've got a quick VT here where we catch up with a bit of a carping legend for his age, definitely.
Christoph.
We've just popped in to see one of our Dynamite teams, Christoph and Amir. We're in the Rod Hutchinson section on Peg 11. Hi Christoph, you okay, my friend? Hi.
Thank you. Everything's okay?
Everything's okay? Yes, yeah, it's a little bit quiet at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, very quiet. We don't have a fish, but this section is...
It is being quiet, isn't it? Yeah. Christoph, I have one thing to ask you.
Yeah.
You've been with Dynamite for 4 years, you've had 8 different 50s from 8 different countries. Which was your most memorable catch?
For me, it's a catch from Austria, the biggest common, the last year with 34 kilo.
34 kilo in Austria, so that's knocking up nearly 70 pounds. That's a massive fish. Now, I believe, Christoph, you've just come back from Austria. Can you tell me a little bit about the new record, or your PB?
Yes, last weekend was this. I caught the same fish once again. Now a little bit bigger with 35.9 kilo.
Yes.
This is now my new personal best.
Yes.
And also new Austrian record.
And the new Austrian record.
And I caught this time with the curl boilies.
Yes.
And with 15 millimeters fluoro pop-up.
And a 15 millimeter fluoro pop-up.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic news, that, Christoph. Amir's just popped out, but Amir is Christoph's partner in this. Just a little bit of information. Amir also, these are big fish anglers. Amir's had 3 different 80s from the same country, so that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done, Christoph. Keep your chin up, mate, and keep fishing on the crave. What a fantastic bait.
Okay.
Cheers, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to catch up with Christoph and have a chat with him and get some views and tips and some ideas in terms of his views on the lake and the competition. And it's good to have had Gerard down there to ask him those questions as well, Nick. There's another question's come in. If the weather gets bad, and I guess this one's for Andy, if the weather gets bad on one side of the lake and the no boating rule is made, does it count for the whole lake, even though the other side is calm?
Yeah, well, generally, we'd have to do it for the whole lake. You know, there's going to be individual swims which are going to be okay. There's some going to be in between, and you know, given the size of a lake, it's not going to be possible to go round a whole lake in the time it needs to be. You know, in an emergency. You know, if a typhoon, like you say, is going to come in tonight, which we've checked the weather forecast, and it's not. It's 20-kilometre gusts at the most. There's a bit of a storm coming in possibly, but you know, going back to the question, you know, when we had it at Medine, we had some big winds at Medine. We just closed the whole lake.
Yeah.
For boating, it was frustrating for some of the anglers because obviously they're in calm water, but it's the fairest way.
I think that's one of the points about this lake. It's such a vast lake, and I know we keep on about that and sound like a broken down record, I'm sure, sometimes on that subject. But it is such a vast lake that it really you can be getting like a 4, 5 or even 6 foot wave on one side, and on the other side of the lake it's flat calm. So I take your point, Andy. It is frustrating for some anglers, but in the interest of making it a fair event for everybody,
and
the lake's closed. The lake is closed.
I mean, on that, we've been here on our first night, and there was massive thunderstorms on the other side of the lake, and we were sitting here in our shorts and t-shirt.
Exactly. You know, it's such a big lake, and you know, I think generally we had some big winds 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And you know, the guys this year seem fairly, you know, reasonably sensible.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to be going out and taking risks, undue risks. A lot of them have got bait boats, big bait boats. If it does get rough, so they can still get the baits
Still do
out.
something,
It's all preparation, you know, something to think about. If it does get rough, you know, there's a boat ban. If I've got a big bait boat, I can still get my baits out. So, you know, it's a good point there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, that one. I think it's all about preparation, and I think if you prepare for all the different eventualities, you know, as Andy was saying there, if the weather does get rough and you've got a big bait boat, and also make sure it works and comes back if you lose control of it. It's got
and again, casting, a lot of fish are close in range.
A lot of
you
them,
know,
yeah.
You don't have to, you know, if you can bang a lead 70, 80 metres,
Yeah.
yards or whatever, you're going to be on the fish still. So
I mean, that's something that you and I talked about the first time you were on.
Yeah.
That obviously, when we'd driven around early in the morning, on that first and second day, every single fish we saw was well within the 250 metre marker, wasn't it?
What, 100 metre mark?
It was an easy chuck, wasn't it?
Exactly.
For most people.
Yeah.
You know, no more than you were casting a lot of lakes in the UK and in Holland and Belgium, places like that. So, yeah, just because it's 250 metres, the marker doesn't mean to say you fish at 250. I know most people that we've seen have caught within 150, haven't they?
Exactly.
So that's an important thing to learn.
We're talking about casting. I think one of the great things that we've been provided with this year is thanks to one of our sponsors called Spom. They designed a unique blue Spom. In fact, they called it it's a camo Spom, but it's actually blue with a yellow dot on the end.
It was for the 15th anniversary, wasn't
it?
For
the 15th anniversary, and that was supposed to represent the blue of the sky of Bolsena and the yellow of the sun. So really, really nice things. So they've only made 400 of those. So let's have a look at the guys from Spom and see a bit more about what they've been up to whilst they've been here.
Here we are, Lake Bolsena in Italy at the World Carp Classic. We are Team Spom. We've had more involvement. We came out last year to watch and see the event and was very impressed, so this year we thought we'd come and support it in a much bigger way. We've got a team and sponsored the section, so we produced some blue and yellow Spoms for this World Carp Classic 15th anniversary. Part of the reason for us being so involved is there have been some inferior copies coming through Europe. This was to give all the competitors here the chance to see how they should be made and the proper product, which has been patented and covered heavily through Europe and the world. We've had a lovely time. We haven't caught no fish, but you never know with carp fishing. It can all happen any time.
Still got 24 hours to go, so we're still in with a chance.
Yep. See you all next year.
So if you ever see a blue spom with a yellow nose, you know where it's come from. It's somebody that's actually had that been either presented to them at the World Carp Classic or come and been made as a special, unique, 1 of 400, never to be repeated, as a 15th anniversary spom for the World Carp Classic this year.
I think all the competitors got one, didn't they, in their goodie bag?
They did, yeah. Every competitor got one.
Yeah, I know. From obviously, I was lucky enough to go down there and see those guys, and I know that their reason for being out here was very simple, was to show the quality of their product over a few of the ones that have come out when maybe they shouldn't have, with patents and things like that, which I know they're busy working on. So I just wanted to, they'd been out here themselves the year before. They loved the event. Obviously, they liked you, and they wanted to sort of get involved as much as possible. So I know they sponsored sections and everything else. But it was great to see them sort of enjoying their week, which they had done. They've struggled with regard to the fish, as the VT said, but they've been well occupied with playing with bait boats and designing new products and things like that. So it was great to meet the guys down there today. It was great to meet everyone. I mean, personally, I'd like to really thank all the Pain, Andy's team of cameras and things. So they've been, and it's just,
so you have been getting fed then?
Kind of weird, to be fair, but it's just.
I think that's all part of it, though. But
Yeah.
they all like that. That's part of why they come to the event.
It's a real community, isn't it? Yeah.
Get the buzz, get all the camera media guys in there, get the media, etc.
I think that's what makes it. I mean, you've been involved in loads of these, as well as being around some other ones.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can be really bitchy match fishing.
Yeah.
And overly competitive. And I think
that had a boat. His battery went flat. So the guys in the next switch
today, recharging batteries, for other switches for them. Exactly.
Because, as I say, the champion of the biggest carp match there is, and there has to be, because you want to win.
Yeah.
I was only there for an hour. Everyone is here as a carp family. Time as opposed to it being competitive,
and you're not going to help you.
So they're constantly moaning about everything, where they're all over the social media saying, "Oh, this has happened and this has happened." You don't get that here.